Oops. Hello friends, how's everyone doing? I wanted to hop on because I thought this topic was really interesting and I wanted to discuss it. And it's 4 reasons. I actually saw a bunch of reasons, but 4 main reasons why yoga students or yoga people in general, and this can go for yoga or fitness, anything, will go to a class with a teacher or at a studio and decide never to come back, or decide this was reason enough that they will never go back to that class or studio. And this was actually a post that was asked, or question asked, in this really large 22,000 person yoga teachers group, and there was over 120 or 150 comments. There was a lot of comments about experiences people have had with teachers that didn't end well, and I wanted to group those into a few tips to maybe share with you guys the reasons, both for teachers and for students, what to look for, what to ask for and avoid, and then go in depth a little bit more on those tips. So by the way, my name is Ashley and I am a yoga teacher here in Fargo, North Dakota, and you can find more of me at ashesyoga.com. And we are discussing 4 things that teachers or studios will do that creates an atmosphere that someone wouldn't want to come back. And this isn't meant to be super negative, it's just, to me it was very informative when I was reading all these comments of people. Someone said this is a very un-yogi post, I'm leaving this group, but honestly to me it was very informative as a teacher, not just from the yogi perspective, but as a teacher, to see a few things that I might be able to avoid, and also to get a few tips on how to avoid these types of things. The number one thing, glaringly obvious thing that people were saying that they never came back to a class was because of unnecessary or unwanted adjustments, meaning they got hurt in class. And yes, when you do a physical practice of any kind, you're always running the risk of getting injured. But if someone is telling you to do something as a teacher's telling you to do something, or pulling you into a pose knowing you have an injury already, that can be really detrimental and can leave you, on crutches, or not, like, re-injuring a past injury. And you yourself really are the person that should be gauging whether or not you should be doing a pose. And a lot of these unnecessary or unwanted adjustments came from students who, it was their first time with this teacher, so this teacher never knew about their background, or it wasn't someone they'd been practicing with for a long extended period of time. So as a teacher, I would say, for me personally, when it comes to new students, I really avoid deep hands-on adjustments. I might do a couple things or talk to them and tell them to change a few things, but it's really the student's body, and they know what's best. I want to put them to put their trust in themselves and not in me completely, because I am no doctor. If you have a knee injury, if you're dealing with your shoulder still healing, I can't help you with that necessarily, but I can say, avoid anything that's going to give you pain. But there are a lot of people have said they had these experiences that they just had these unwanted or too deep of adjustments, and so they never came back to class because they got hurt. And that does happen. So be very careful, be really wary of that. It doesn't happen all the time. This is like the small percentage. It's just one instance. And so these things are not something that's going to happen all the time. It's not something that you should, say you're never going to go to yoga because the teacher's going to hurt you. Because she's not. He or she is not. They were not there to hurt you. We're there to hopefully heal you. There's been much more healing than there has been hurting. All right, the second thing that we see from studios or yoga teachers or places in general, I'm going to just lump this into one thing, and it's called ego. Ego. So along those lines, if a teacher is using practice for their own personal practice, meaning they're on their mat doing the flow, not really paying attention to what their students are doing, and they're just on top of their mat doing yoga for themselves, using it as their own personal practice without regard to what's going on behind them or wherever they are. Also, like with ego, is too much self-promotion or too much comments about how they're better than you, or how, I don't know, just things that you'd hope you wouldn't hear, because these definitely are not true. But it happens. These are very few percentage of yoga teachers are like this, but if it happens once, maybe it was an off day or they had an off comment. And I am actually guilty of this. I didn't know I was saying something that was making a few people feel like they shouldn't be there. I had no idea until it was brought to my attention. So sometimes all it is a matter of awareness for the teacher to be like, oh, I didn't realize what I was saying was making anyone feel bad. I'm really sorry. I'll change that. And you have to have someone with a humble personality to be able to say, okay, I see your point. I will back off on, you know, saying these certain things that might make people feel like they're not welcome. With ego is also clickiness. So if you have like inside jokes with a few select people, your regulars, and then the new people are like, huh? So, you know, don't think of yourself too high up there as if you're a yoga teacher. You are a student first and foremost, and that it was also one of them was that you don't want to go to a teacher who is not a student as well, who doesn't have a teacher who can, you know, put them in their place. And I have several teachers, and I still get training daily, weekly, monthly. Okay, that was number 2. Number 3, which I saw a lot of, and things that teachers want to avoid doing in classes that will turn off your students faster than, think of an analogy about fast turning off. Okay. Is pushing beliefs. I have my notebook here. But pushing beliefs onto your students when it comes to politics, when it comes to religion, or even dietary guidelines like being vegan or vegetarian. So if you're pushing thoughts and stuff on like PETA and stuff, vegetarian veganism, or if you say anything, if it's a Christian yoga class, or if it's like meant to be called like holy yoga, that's a thing, that's okay. You can talk about Jesus, you can talk about Christianity, but if you're bringing up your religion in class, that's not what people are there for. Yoga is not religion. It can enhance your own religion, but let the students find that for themselves. Don't push your religion. Also, don't backtalk or badmouth any religion in a gossipy or negative way. Talking in any kind of negative way in general, it's not cool. People are there to feel good and uplifted, not to feel that negative drain and strain on whatever you're telling them. So don't push beliefs. And if you hear a teacher doing this can be really hard for students. To mention to the teacher that, you know, you really don't like this. But then again, there's so many yoga teachers out there. Oftentimes people will just leave without mentioning anything and hold on to that fact that they left and then find a new teacher. And that's okay. That's all right. But don't push your beliefs if you're a teacher. Okay, and the last thing, and this wasn't as prevalent as the first 3, but it is gossip or talking behind people's backs. So some people had mentioned that there was some, you know, if you can hear around the corner, even if they're not talking about you, but if you can hear 2 teachers talking bad about someone else, it's just like, if they're talking bad about someone else, they could be talking about me. It's not a good feeling to have. So any kind of gossip or talking behind people's backs, avoid that at all costs. Not just at yoga, not just in your job, but everywhere. Gossip and talking about others, especially negative, is the lowest. Let's go lower. Low. Is the lowest form of communication. And it's something you want to stay far, far away from. So best to be talking about ideas, future moving topics, events, fun things, not other people. So let's do a quick recap, shall we? Those are the 4 things that I saw, the 4 categories I saw, that the reasons why people stop going to yoga classes. And that would be number 1. Most of these are teacher-based, and that's fine. I thought this was very enlightening to read these, even though a lot of them were negative. It's good for me as a teacher to see what to avoid and helpful, you know, what's most seen around as not helpful for students. The number 1 was unnecessary or unwanted adjustments and assists. And that means that either the student actually got hurt or it was just plain creepy. Like the way you touch someone, you got to be really careful, or the teacher didn't ask permission. And so asking if it's okay to give you an adjustment, that kind of thing. Number 2 was too much ego in class, the teacher using the class as their own self-practice and saying things that are very self-promoting and not for the benefit of the class, but for the benefit of themselves, or like showing off. It's not cool. Number 3 is pushing beliefs. So politics, religion, that kind of thing. Just leave all of that out of yoga. Make it a neutral ground where people can get away from all of that. They get enough of that already on Facebook and everywhere else. And then number 4 was gossiping, whether it's in the studio or it's in the class or is anywhere, gossiping in general, knock it from your life. Okay, those were your 4 reasons why people will avoid coming back to yoga classes, the 4 general reasons. If you can think of any, or if you know any, and don't don't be negative or anything, but you can always mention something like, what do you think would stop you from coming to a class? I don't know. Have you ever went to a class and then never came back? I think it's an interesting topic. So if you want to chime in on that, you can comment. Otherwise, just hope these kind of helped you see another way. And and the tip for students is to be just open and honest. And if you don't want adjustments, say so right away. Like, please don't touch me. And it's okay to seek out other teachers. But, always, if you want to give the teacher another shot, that's always nice to do. If it was just something, maybe it was a bad day, I don't know, but that's up to you. Every teacher teaches differently, every studio is different, everything is different, so give it a chance, and I will talk to you again later. Again, you can check out more at ashesyoga.com, where I have a lot of videos and different blog posts that can help you along your journey. Bye!